what would happen if a practitioner, I won't say any names, but if a practitioner took bowing out of the art, how would that weaken the art, or how would that affect that practitioner's? Will that practitioner have it? Can't work if they don't have all of it.
The way Shiva, we've seen it before. History repeats itself, and that's, we live in a cyclical universe.
And that's something.
History repeats itself.
Sure is.
And when we see Wei Shiba, we see Morihei Wei Shiba, the founder of Aikido, doing these fantastic techniques, incredible skill, and then we look at his descendants. It's really interesting. If you take a look at Gozo Shioda, who is Wei Shiba's Uchideshi, predating Aikido, you see, hey, this guy who calls himself Aikido actually trained with Wei Shiba when Wei Shiba was doing Daito Ryu. And look at the way this guy moves. This guy's phenomenal, rips through anything, just disappears from his attackers, and skilled locking and incredible Aiki. But then you look at, and I'm not going to name any names, but you look at the other descendants. Further down the line you go, and God bless them all. I'm not trying to talk poorly about anyone. You see that that incredible skill did not transfer into those Aikido students. So how? What was the missing piece? What happened? Well, Aikido happened. The reason why Gozo Shioda could do what he did was he trained the way Wei Shiba trained. The reason why the other descendants can't do what Wei Shiba's doing and what Gozo Shioda did is because they were never trained the way this guy was, the way those guys did. So what you can't do is you can't go A, B, C, D, E, F, G all the way to Z, right? And then start teaching about Z, and how Z is important, and never cover the rest of the alphabet. I'll just learn Z and you'll know it all. No. No. So, not to get too personal, but I think I have an understanding of the individual you're talking about. He will have no difficulty because he did his training. He spent the time in. But his descendants that now will be learning from him and missing that piece, that bowing piece, that Reiki Saho piece, they're going to have a hard time. I'll be a wizard and predict some things. One of the things that I predict is that they will have difficulty with counterbalance. Another thing that I'll predict is that they'll have a difficulty with their reaction time. The split reaction to attack and the split reaction to defense. They'll have difficulty with that. And the reason why is because the conscious mind will be trained. But Reiki Saho and bowing methods are for training your subconscious mind. You're supposed to be thinking about respect and honor and integrity. And you're supposed to fill your mind with that as you bow. That's so that the physical action is picked up by the subconscious mind. So that you're not only training the conscious mind, but you're training the subconscious mind. The subconscious training is essential to quick and decisive reaction. Because the conscious mind is going to be occupied. The conscious mind is going to be looking at that knife as it comes at them. The conscious mind is going to be feeling the pain of being choked or being hit. The subconscious needs to react it because it is trained to do so. And when you're doing Furozare and you Tenkai into Za, you need to be thinking not about technique. You need to be thinking about honoring the other person. You need to be thinking about respecting the other person, displaying levels of integrity in your movement for the purpose of, as far as your conscious mind is concerned, honoring each other, mutual respect. That's how smart those ancients were, that they knew that we need to occupy the conscious mind and we need to train the subconscious. What better vehicle than honor then respect, and constantly throwing that back and forth in the dojo is wonderful. It's going to keep everybody alive and keep everybody training and appreciating their training partner, while constantly reinforcing that training on a subconscious level. Essential. You can't take that piece out. Unless you want to rewrite some stuff, you want to get to it another way, it's possible. This way was refined for over 1,000 years, but if you think yourself smarter, and I'm not talking about this individual, if you think yourself smarter and you think that you can come up with new and better ways to train, have at it, and please let me know the results. Our art is extremely Darwinistic in its approach, in that they found out this works, and that's why they ran with the ball. Are there other roads to the same place? Yeah. Brave the jungles, cut down the trees, and pave yourself a new path, and ignore the superhighway that already exists.
Yeah, that they made over 1,000 years ago.
That'll take you there. Well, whatever you want to do, though. And I'm not speaking about that individual. I'm entertaining some new ideas.
Sharpen your machetes. Get some mosquito spray. That's it. Check yourself for ticks every 15 feet.
Couple seconds. Because there are going to be new things that we didn't even think about that are going to come at us from this new trek into new territory.
Watch out for the natives.
There's going to be some new diseases that you're going to have to encounter and work your way through, because
why reinvent the wheel? Why?
I'm going to come up with my own computer.
Or why make the wheel square in this individual's?
I'm not going to buy a Mac. I'm not going to buy a PC. I'm going to go to my garage. I got some nails. Got some glue. Got some wood.
Couple of pigeons.
I make my own computer. Got a hamster. I'm gonna put him in a little wheel. I don't know. I don't know.
Oh God!
Whatever you want to do, I don't have time for that. It's like all this art was built so that for ease, efficiency, and effectiveness. I'm constantly saying thank you to the agents because I don't have to do anything.
Yeah, thank you, agents.
Oh my gosh! You guys spend hundreds of thousands of lives in the perfection and the pursuit of this art, and what do we get to do? We get to enjoy it.
Notice he said lives. That means lots of people lost their heads to make this art work.
Yeah, it's true. So what do? We sit back and we learn it, and we're like, look at that! That's incredible. Not maybe hopefully, your sensei clues you into why it's incredible, because so many spent their lives working on it. It's like reinventing science. Why would you? All these discoveries were made. All this foundation was laid, and I'm not going to use it. I'm gonna start my own thing. Lots of people start their own martial arts and think that way. I don't get it. Well, but I don't need to, because as Tanner Katsumi stated, I have the honor and privilege of standing on the shoulders of giants. That's it.